We're down to 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Davenport still leads 1-0, and hopefully the broadcast is working for now. We've been having some problems back here, so apologies for everybody who's been trying to keep up with the game today, and hopefully the best is still to come in this game, and we'll get all of that on the air for you as Davenport gets the ball down the back line and it rolls off the side of the net. Shot from wide that goes nowhere for the Panthers. St. Francis gets a free kick here. Just under 10 minutes remaining. It's been about 20 minutes since our first and so far only goal of the game. It came from Davenport junior Allison Lertzma, the midfielder who scored for the first time this year. It came off of a second attack after a corner kick. And the Saints, ever since then, have been trying to claw their way back into an even score. Davenport making a move once again, knocked away by the Saints defense. Under the foot of Alejandra Alonso and knocked away by Sabrina Stone. Stone kicks it along the sideline out of bounds. St. Francis gets a throw in from deep in their own territory. Haley Wenberg, the tosser from the corner, into Casey Harris, and cleared very quickly there. Back to Davenport. This is Catherine Steiner. Steiner working against Olivia De La Rosa, and De La Rosa knocks it out of bounds. Nice defensive play from Olivia De La Rosa, the forward. And now we got some subs for both teams, so we'll brief pause here. Hannah Riker is in for the Fighting Saints. The Panthers counter with Danielle McCarty. De La Rosa, following that good defensive effort, checks out for probably the rest of the first half. I'm sure we'll see her again at some point in the second half of today's game. McCarty will make the throw in for Davenport. She tosses it in short, but it bounces over her intended target's head. There's Camille Papalera stepping in defensively. Papalera knocks it off to Hanyon, and Hanyon sends it out of bounds. 1-0, Davenport has the lead. Coming out here to Joliet for the second consecutive year. They beat the Saints here last season. There's a miss hit from St. Francis. Olivia Hollander not able to clear it. And now it is cleared. Casey Harris trying to make her way to the left side. Now she pulls it up, passes back towards the middle. There's Kelly Petrowski. Petrowski knocked to the turf, not able to handle that ball. And it's sent back to Macy DeWise, the goalkeeper for Davenport University. Good back and forth action for the most part in this first half. Davenport the only team with a goal so far. Saints are trying to change that right now. Harris over to Alonso. Alonso backs it up, gives again to Harris. Casey Harris sends it through towards the net. Nobody there wearing gold making a run. So Macy DeWise is easily able to step up and make the stop. And the Panthers work their way somewhat slowly down the field. Ironically, Madeline Rush, the one who was moving slowly. Here's Harris. Harris ahead for Alonso. Good ball to Alonso into the corner of the box. Alonso tries to cross it right in front of the net to Riker. DeWise jumps in on it. The ball's still loose. There's a shot and an incredible save by the defense of Davenport. That was Sabrina Stone who dove in front of the net. Macy DeWise, the goalkeeper, was down on the ground. She had made the initial save, knocked it away, not able to secure it. And when the Saints sent a pair of attackers towards the net, Stone just slid in front and made the stop in what was an otherwise open net. Great play defensively by Stone, and the score remains 1-0. St. Francis, though, still in possession, still in the attacking third. Riker gives it up, and it's passed away by Katurba. There's Alice Linsell. Davenport sending it out of bounds. At midfield, Haley Wenberg tosses in off the head of Harris. Stolen away by Alex Prout. And Harris taps it out of bounds. Just over 5 minutes to play in the half now. Here's Rush going back to Macy DeWise, and we'll see if they reverse field again here. Nope, DeWise gives it right back to Madeline Rush. Rush working down the sideline. Taps it off to Prout. Casey Harris defends. Prout gets it back, but loses to Olivia Hollander. Hollander down the center of the field. Casey Harris making a run towards it, but Harris can't get there fast enough. Cassandra Bosworth turns and sends it down the field. Kept in bounds. And Davenport clears it all the way down the field. Rolls into the box. And Ellie Provo is there to pick it up. Provo takes a running head start and boots it down the center of the pitch. Headed into the air by Stone, but off the foot of Casey Harris. Haley Wenberg. Wenberg looking for the head of Kelly Petrowski, but she's forced off the ball from behind by Cassandra Bosworth. Harris to her right, finds Riker. Down towards the box, it bounces once, headed off by Bosworth, still loose in front of the box. Alonso charged at that ball briefly, but Madeline Rush got there before she could. There's Stone. Headed down towards the corner. And the Saints are able to get it out of there as Papalera gives it up to Wenberg. Wenberg down the sideline towards Alonso. Now this is Casey Harris. Taken away by Sabrina Stone, high up into the air. Petrowski is there for the Saints, and Petrowski knocks it off of Bosworth and out of bounds. Petrowski did a good job not just keeping that ball alive, but making sure that it was last touched by Davenport before it went out, so the Saints can continue their forward momentum on the throw-in here. Casey Harris, though, a little bit too strong, throwing it over the head of Petrowski. Harris off to Alonso. Towards the center of the field, deflected once and taken away by Davenport. Here's a move towards the box, and Camille Papalera steps in front of Caitlin Varney, knocking it out the corner and out for a corner kick. Nice play there by Camille Papalera to jump in. 2.5 minutes to play in the first half, and deep in the attacking zone. Davenport's got a chance to double their lead here. They're up 1-0. It is a throw-in rather than a corner kick for Sabrina Stone. She tosses it in, gets it right back. The pass towards Varney deflected and knocked out once again. And again, it's out in the corner, but it will be a throw-in rather than a corner kick. Stone lobs it right in front of her. Turning towards the net is Varney. There's a pass to the middle of the field and knocked away. Back off the head of Varney. And a good clearance right there. That was Olivia Hollander. And now the Saints will try to counter. Petrowski taps it back. And booted forward, but intercepted. Sent all the way back towards the net. Provo's got to back up on it. Took a tough high hop on her. She backs up and plays it off that bounce and gets it out of harm's way. Stone back to Rush. Rush pushes onward. Martina Caturba jumps in the way, slows things down, and now it's taken away by Alejandra Alonso. Alonso between the legs of Alice Linsell. And now Riker for the Fighting Saints. Final minute of play in the first half. Riker crosses, deflected, off to the side by Bosworth. Now here come the Panthers. Sabrina Stone along the near sideline. Stone is picked up by Haley Wenberg. She passes off to her left. 40 seconds to go. This will probably be Davenport's last real attack here. And they're not going to get anything out of it as Brittany Cook takes it away to Caturba. Worked ahead to Riker. Now Riker tries to set up one strong final attack for St. Francis as they look for the equalizer right before halftime. Under 30 seconds to play. Into the corner. Riker tracks it down. Riker centers it to Casey Harris, and Harris shoots it wide. Nice setup. Nice delivery from Harris as well, but just a little bit too far to the right. And that will effectively end the first half of play. Just 5 seconds on the clock to Wise. He's not even going to have enough time to set this ball up and send it away. So the first half comes to a close. A wild first half on the broadcast, but hopefully we're working right now, and hopefully it works the rest of the way. And hopefully St. Francis will get things going offensively. Not a bad offensive first half for the Saints. They certainly had their chances, just not quite able to finish them off, and they played well defensively as the half went on as well. Davenport did get the only goal from Allison Lertzma, and it came about 17 minutes into the game. Right now we'll take a break. 15 minutes on the clock for halftime. So once that 15 minutes is up, we'll be back with you, get you some stats, get you prepped for the second half, and then we'll have all of that action from the second half. Stick around. Saints trail by 1 at the break. Second half just about set to begin here at St. Francis. Fighting Saints trailing the Davenport University Panthers 1-0 after 45 minutes of play today. Terry Bonadonna with you on the call for today's game as the Saints try to make a comeback. They gave a valiant effort at the end of the first half. Some close calls, including one where it looked like they had the game all evened up, and Sabrina Stone came sliding into what had been an empty net and stopped what was a big shot for the Saints that looked like it was going to make it 1-1. Instead, it is 1-0 Davenport. But I think over the last 20 minutes or so of the first half, St. Francis probably outplayed the Panthers, had more opportunities to score than Davenport did. Now we'll see if that continues for the next 45 minutes here in the second half as we are underway with the two teams having reverse sides. This is Davenport going from right to left on your screen for the second half of action. Allison Lertzma, who has the only goal in today's game. She scored back in the 17th minute. Leads the offensive charge this time around. It's Catherine Steiner on the near sideline. Steiner gets it into the middle of the field. This is Skidmore, and Ashlyn Skidmore's pass is deflected away, but right back to Alex Prout. Skidmore again, tackled away by Casey Harris. Nice play by Harris. Harris has played a great game so far. Primarily in charge of the offense. That time, though, a good defensive stop by Harris. This is Macy DeWise. She came outside of the box, so not able to pick the ball up, but she kicks it off to her teammate on the left side. That's Dunstan, gives it right back to DeWise. Davenport runs a lot of their game through their goalkeeper, more so than I'm accustomed to seeing. Macy DeWise has been very much involved in the game without having had to make too many saves. Every time they get the ball back on the defensive line, Davenport likes to reassess the situation by sending it off to the goalie as that ball is crossed just a little bit wide of the intended target. That was Bennett, I think, who they tried to get the ball to. And Rohima Bennett just not quite able to reach out and grab that ball and set up a score or even a shot. Instead, it's cleared by the St. Francis defense and goes all the way back once again to Macy DeWise. DeWise this time starts off the run to the left side. 1-0 Davenport leads. We're just over 2 minutes into the second half of play. 6 shots have been taken so far by St. Francis today, 4 by Davenport. So again, the Saints in some ways have outplayed the Panthers despite the score to the contrary. 2 shots on target for Davenport. Just 1 for St. Francis so far, but plenty of time to change that. Davenport playing a slow game here. They've been doing that, very conservative on the defensive side as DeWise takes her time getting things started. DeWise and Amani Richards play a little back and forth. Now Macy DeWise starts to roll the ball off to her left, and she kicks it out in that direction to Dunstan. Christina Dunstan is a sophomore from Ada, Michigan. She finally gives it a good kick, booting it down the sideline. I would imagine for as conservative as Davenport was in the first half, there's a handball called on Rohima Bennett. Ball bounced up on her high, didn't look intentional, but she did get her lower arm on that ball. So the free kick coming up for the Saints here. I would imagine that as conservative as Davenport was in the first half, they would be inclined to be even more so here in the second half just based on the weather conditions. It's a beautiful sunny day, cool for this season. Averages are usually still in the high 70s, but temperature about 10 degrees cooler than that today as Casey Harris gets a weak shot from just beyond the border. Not sure if she was trying to put that one on goal or if she maybe just geared up and then tried to roll it off to Kelly Petrowski, who was right there in front of her, but either way it was deflected and taken away by Davenport. And now a throw in from the corner for St. Francis, sent in by Hanyon and knocked right back out the sideline. Hanyon will try it again. Into Martina Katurba, gives it right back to Hanyon, and Hanyon can't possess it cleanly. Here comes a big run by Lertzma down the sideline. Lertzma rolls it ahead to Hilgendorf. Back to Lertzma, who crosses field to the right side. This is Peterson on the move. Peterson rolls it ahead to Bennett. Rohima Bennett into the box. Hilgendorf. Hilgendorf's got a shot right on Ellie Provo. Saved by Provo. Really nice looking setup there by Davenport. They moved the ball down the field there like a machine, but not able to get a good shot off as Hilgendorf was at a tough angle Provo had that ball snuffed out perfectly. Well positioned and an easy save for her. It is a beautiful day here, if a bit chilly. Chilly for the season, still in the upper 60s temperature-wise. Here comes Steiner. Steiner off to Bennett. Bennett trying to work her way around Papalera. She gets around Papalera, takes a shot, deflected away in front of the net. Another shot for Steiner and a diving save by Ellie Provo. Great defensive sequence there by the Saints, and in particular their goalkeeper Ellie Provo, who made 2 saves in short order. First shot came from Bennett. It was not at a great angle. Provo did a nice job of just deflecting it softly away, but it loosened up that ball right in front of the net. And Steiner had what looked like an open shot, but a diving stop by Provo kept Davenport's score at 1 with 39.5 minutes to play in the second half. A lot of action so far in the second half. No goals scored yet. It's been a while since we've seen anybody get the ball in the back of the net. But if play continues like this, the way it's been for the last 5 minutes, I wouldn't expect this thing to end 1-0 as Kelly Petrowski has a look now over to Casey Harris. Harris takes a shot from long range and it sails high and wide. Out of bounds for a goal kick. And that's kind of what I've been getting at, talking about the weather and interrupted by some action in the game, but the weather conditions that have been most noticeable in today's game have been the strong winds blowing from the north. And that means that anything that St. Francis kicks up into the air during this second half might sail on them a little bit further than they're accustomed to. As Harris is able to intercept that ball. Harris takes another shot off the back of the leg of Bosworth, right back to Harris. Harris can't get it to Riker, and Riker is called for a foul. Harris's shot was deflected by Bosworth right back to Harris. And then as she tried to pass it off to Riker, Christina Dunstan got in the way, and Riker, in her zeal to try to get to that ball, ended up knocking Dunstan to the ground, giving free possession here to Davenport. Davenport had that wind at their backs in the first half. Here in the second half, they might find their balls caught up in it a little bit, knocked out of bounds, throw in here for the Saints. Which might make it a little bit more difficult to be as aggressive as they might like to be offensively. But again, this is a team that wasn't all that aggressive in the first half. They scored their goal and then they slowed things down a little bit. Not that they're not still aggressive on the offensive side when they get in those positions, but they are not in any hurry to move the ball down the field from the defensive side. St. Francis is in their attacking third right now, but it's knocked away. Knocked away initially by the Davenport defense. Ball is loose at midfield. From the ground, Bennett tries to free that ball up, but it's knocked away from her. Here's Alejandra Alonso trying to get it through to Kelly Petrowski, but Richards gets in the way, and Richards knocks it off of Petrowski and out of bounds. Throw-in coming up here for Davenport. The Panthers have a 1-goal lead with 37 minutes to play in today's action. Davenport coming off of a big win, and regardless of how the rest of this season goes, it may prove to be one of the biggest wins that they have all year. They beat a top 15 team, NCAA Division II program at Davenport, and they beat Quincy, who was number 11 in the D2 polls at the time. It was a 2-0 win. Both of those goals came in the second half. Quincy is another Illinois team. A little bit further downstate from here as that ball is knocked out of bounds. A throw in here for St. Francis. Davenport making their second consecutive trip into the land of Lincoln. This time an interdivisional game from NCAA Division II taking on NAIA Division I program, St. Francis. Davenport rolling it down towards the box, working her way inside. There's a shot and it's just wide. Just wide of the net. It looked like Hilgendorf there had Ellie Provo beat as Provo dove, and ball was just beyond her fingertips, although maybe if it were more on target, Provo would have been able to stop it. But a nice shot, nice looking shot off the foot of Hilgendorf. Just didn't go her way in the end as it was wide by inches. Still a lot of time to go in this game, but as we are now just about 10 minutes into the second half, a second goal for Davenport could be lethal to St. Francis. So the Saints know that now more than ever they've got to step up their game defensively. Davenport's had a few good chances in the second half, haven't been able to break through against this stout St. Francis D as Casey Harris knocks the ball away from Dunston out of bounds. Dunston will get the throw in. Tossed right in front of her to Catherine Steiner. Steiner working against Riker, keeps possession of the ball. Pushes it off to her right side. This is Lertzma. Lertzma into the box and a little bit too far out in front of her teammates. Ellie Provo creeps up and scoops that ball off the ground. Sent quickly down the other way and all the way back to the goalkeeper, Macy DeWise. Davenport works a little bit more quickly and gaining momentum going the other way this time. Intercepted by Olivia Hollander. Off to Katurba. Martina Katurba rolls it to the right. That's Hannah Riker. Riker turns to her right. That's good defense by Christina Dunston, not allowing the pass to be made, but Riker sticks with it, keeps it in possession of St. Francis, only for a short while as that ball sent up into the air, knocked down by Catherine Steiner, and it'll be sent back to the goalie, Macy DeWise. DeWise's kick from the goalkeeper box is batted away by St. Francis. Here's Casey Harris. Harris cuts towards the middle of the field, splits a couple of defenders, but she is halted by Alex Prout. Here's Bennett. Rohima Bennett forced off the ball out of bounds. Bennett was the last one to touch it. Lobbed in towards Riker and too strong for Riker. Here's Prout. Towards the back middle of the field. They don't go all the way back to DeWise this time, but still getting things set up deliberately from the defensive end. 33 minutes to play in the second half. We're 12 minutes in to the second half since the break. No score. Anna Riker tries to track that ball down, but just out of her reach. Goes out of bounds along the sideline. Davenport has a throw-in coming up. Into Steiner. Steiner against Riker. Gives up that battle and just passes it back. Here's Dunston. Over to DeWise. Back to Christina Dunston. Dunston starts to make her move down the field. Rolls it to the middle of the field and Lertzma. Lertzma passes off to her right. Looking for Peterson, could not initially hook up with her. Haley Wenberg takes it away and gives it off to Alonso. Nicely done by Wenberg there. Casey Harris ahead to Riker. Riker is on sides, but she can't reach the ball. Well, nice job by Riker just barely staying on sides, but Casey Harris's pass just a little bit too far out in front of her. Saints not able to get that cross in as they try to get their first goal of the game. Imani Richards kicks it back to Macy DeWise. DeWise directs traffic once again and reverses field, going all the way towards the sideline on her left. Christina Dunston. Once she's met by Riker, she gives it a big kick down the sideline and too far out in front. Looking for Catherine Steiner, the redshirt junior from Ada, Michigan. Dunston and Steiner, both Ada, Michigan products. Teammates several years back at Forest Hills Northern High School and playing together now for Davenport University. Here comes Martina Katurba, nice individual run, and now as the defense meets her, she passes off to the left, then Alonso. Alejandra Alonso looking for the cross, but she can't get it past the right foot of Imani Richards. Knocked out of bounds. It is a throw-in for St. Francis here. Tossed in by Alonso towards Katurba and deflected out. Alex Prout touched that ball, but it will now be a corner kick for St. Francis. Saints have had 2 corners attempted earlier in the game. Here is number 3 right now. Casey Harris moves the flag out of the way. Flag has been felled, I think, by the wind. There's the kick towards the middle of the net. Ball loose in front of the net, now knocked away by the defense. Tracked down by Riker. Here's Camille Papalera from way out there, sending the ball towards that. Up in the air, it bounces once, and picked up on a jump by Macy DeWise. Saints come up empty on that attempt. Just under a half hour still to play in today's game. 1-0 Davenport. Another hard-fought game between these two. Davenport won a good defensive battle last year on this field. It was on a Friday afternoon, but in the same weekend of the year that they play each other this time around. Madison Hanyon heads that ball towards midfield. Now headed back by Lertzma. Good ball work by Skidmore, and Skidmore gives it up to Hilgendorf. Hilgendorf turns and kicks right into the teeth of the defense. Lertzma off to Skidmore on the right side. Now trying to get the ball through, but Ellie Provo calls everybody away and charges in to pick that ball up herself. Provo boots it towards midfield. Kelly Petrowski one touch towards Riker and defended well by Dunstan. Harris off her chest. Back to Papalera, and Papalera goes downfield. Riker will not have an opportunity to bring that ball in, so she pulls up and lets it bounce back to Macy DeWise. Davenport leads by a goal. They've got the ball on the backside right now, running some clock and hoping that they can set themselves up for another run to make it a 2-0 game. This is Richards passing to her right and up ahead a little bit to Peterson. Back to the defense. Bosworth gets it ahead to Bennett. Rohima Bennett turns it upfield, passes to Steiner. Steiner not able to keep it in bounds. Gave it her best effort, but it is a throw in here for St. Francis, going from left to right, trying to tie this score up. There's the throw into Riker. Riker controls, passes off. Hollander downfield, nobody there in gold. Davenport gets to take over on a throw of their own. Madeline Rush is back in for the Panthers. Lauren Peterson checks out as Davenport takes over possession. Ball kicked past Hanyon over to Hilgendorf. Hilgendorf met by Papalera. Papalera slows her down a little bit. Hilgendorf will now survey her options, passing it towards the middle of the field. Cleared simply by the Saints and out of bounds. Last touch by the Panthers. Tossed into Casey Harris. Davenport kicks it downfield. Papalera jumps in front of Steiner. Taps that ball out of bounds. Throw-in coming up for Davenport. 26.5 minutes to play in today's game. 1-0, the Panthers lead. Off the foot of Bennett and intercepted by Madison Hanyon, who kicks it down the sideline, and eventually that ball does skip out of bounds. Knocked away by Harris. Out for a Davenport throw. Bennett to Hilgendorf. Hilgendorf backing down on Hanyon, and eventually turns and sends it out. Dunstan, big ball into the box, up in the air, header towards the net. Ellie Provo jumps in and makes the stop. Provo got there ahead of Skidmore and ahead of Madeline Rush. Tried to make a rush on that ball before Provo could get her hands on it, but Ellie Provo took charge of the situation. Score still 1-0. First goal allowed by Ellie Provo in 2 games. First goal allowed by the Saints in 2 games, as they had a shutout against Asbury on Monday rather. It was Labor Day, September 3rd. That was the last time that the Saints were out on the field. They've had much of this week off, at least from game action. Same story for Davenport. They're playing their first game in a week. They again went to Quincy last weekend. Steiner can't get it past Hanyon, but she does pass it off to Lertzma. Lertzma takes a shot, and that's just high. Over the outstretched arm of Ellie Provo, tried to sneak it in just underneath the crossbar. Instead, she got it just over the crossbar. It was in between the soccer goal and the football goalpost setting up there. Just a little bit too high from Lertzma, who was trying to tack on to her earlier goal and make it 2 in 1 game for the junior. Score still 1-0 with just over 24 minutes to play. Harris sends it forward, deflected, taken back by Davenport. Rohima Bennett works her way around Harris, backs up, and passes back. This is Christina Dunstan. Bosworth down the middle of the field is intercepted by Martina Katurba. Katurba loses it right back to Madeline Rush. Rush is tripped up by Haley Wenberg. Whistle blows, foul called. Free kick coming up for the Panthers. Alex Prout will set that ball up to her liking. Prout getting set to take the free kick here. She's a senior from Grand Haven, Michigan. Prout, a defensive midfielder, is ready to go. The ball keeps rolling a little bit further back, though. I've been talking about that strong wind blowing all day, blowing north to south. And at the moment, it's blowing into the face of Prout, and that may be part of the reason she decided to play that kick so short. Bennett inside, rolls it towards Provo, and Provo makes the save. Not a bad idea by Rohima Bennett there. Couldn't get a lot on that turnaround shot, though. So it goes as an easy save for Provo, and now Hannah Riker tries to counter. Riker off to Petrowski, and Petrowski was all alone, but the reason for that apparently was that she was offsides. The flag went up immediately. Looked like a great opportunity developing for St. Francis as Riker tracked that ball down in open space and got it ahead to Petrowski, who was in even more open space. She was out in front of everybody. That was the problem. So the offsides call turns it over and turns this game around. It looked like it was going to be a good goal opportunity for the Fighting Saints, maybe the best that they would have today. We're more than halfway into the second half as the clock ticks down to 22 minutes. Both teams have had some good opportunities in the second half. Neither team has yet capitalized on them. Rohima Bennett is intercepted, but the pass goes back to her. Now it's loose in the middle of the field. Attacking third for Davenport, but they back it up themselves to midfield. Martina Katurba jumps in the passing lane. It looked like she had a steal for a moment there. She's hassling Alex Prout. And Prout gets tangled up with Petrowski. Martina Katurba takes it away, set to head to Riker, but this time it was easy to see she was offsides, well in front of the defense. Second straight good opportunity for the Saints curtailed by an offsides call. And we remain in a 1-0 score with Davenport on top. Skidmore almost ran into Hilgendorf there, but Davenport still has possession. Steiner loses that possession as Olivia Hollander knocks it away out of bounds and into the trash can. A good round of applause from the crowd there. That ball deflected into the bleachers off the foot of Hanyon. Into the bleachers, it bounced once and into the trash can. That's not an easy shot. That's a tough trick shot. Rohima Bennett right in front of the net, but she was defended the whole way by Camille Papalera. Never gave her an opportunity to take a shot. Here comes Casey Harris on the run. Harris across midfield, taken away by Dunstan. Prout heads it back towards midfield, where Harris picks it up once more. Off to Katurba. Katurba rolls it to Alejandra Alonso on the left side. Too strong and out of bounds. Just about down to the final 20 minutes of today's game as the clock ticks towards that 20 mark. 20:16 on the clock showing right now. As Harris passes towards Riker on the sideline near side, it's out of bounds. Dunstan back to the goalkeeper. DeWise is this time pressured by Casey Harris, and she sends it away quickly, but does find a teammate, Steiner. Skidmore off to Hilgendorf. Hilgendorf passes back to Eshlyn Skidmore. Downfield for Davenport. Hanyon kicks it initially away from Lertzma, but Lertzma gets it back to Ruhima Bennett. Nice move by Bennett to get around Hanyon. Bennett against 3 defenders. Nifty ball. Tries to roll it into the box. Pulls back though. Passes off to Lertzma. Lertzma is tackled and has it taken away by Riker. Now Riker starts to make her move. Downfield towards Petrowski. Long run Kelly Petrowski, and as that ball gets into the box, first one to pick it up will be Macy DeWise. So DeWise, the goalkeeper, makes herself relevant in today's game once again as she rolls it to the right side. Lertzma dribbles across midfield, passes to her left. This is Steiner. Steiner gives it up to her right, but has that ball intercepted by Haley Wenberg. Here comes Alejandra Alonso. Alonso scored the only goal for the Saints in their win against Asbury on Monday. Trying to kickstart the offense here today. But instead it's Cassandra Bosworth getting in her way and allowing that ball to roll all the way out of bounds, and a big gust of wind rolls that ball well beyond the borders of the field. New ball is called for, and we've got a goal kick here. Looks like Taylor Jensink just checked in for Davenport. That's the first time we've seen her today. Caitlin Varney is back in as well. Varney was out there earlier. Another short goal kick from DeWise down to her corner defender, Christina Dunstan. Dunstan to the middle of the field, but taken away by Olivia Hollander. Nice work by Hollander, coming in from behind Jensink to knock that ball out of her reach. And Jensink gets locked in a tussle with St. Francis's Kelly Petrowski. The foul is called against Jensink. Petrowski draws it, and it sets up a free kick for Casey Harris. Harris from just under 40 yards out. Makes the approach. There's the shot, punched up into the air and out of bounds for a corner kick. Nice save by Macy DeWise, and you know that what we've seen in today's game, that's going to be a shot from Casey Harris. Might be a little bit too far out there for some players, but that's nowhere near out of Harris's range. She likes to take shots on goal on the free kicks, and not a bad one right there, but it was punched away by DeWise, and now a good chance for the Saints as they get another corner kick, their 4th of the game. Ball is sent in by Harris in front of the net. Punched up in the air again by DeWise, this time in the other direction, and it's knocked out of bounds off the head of a Davenport defender. That was Steiner who was able to clear it out. St. Francis still in their attacking zone. Riker, pass deflected out by Davenport. 16.5 minutes to play. There's a toss in off the chest of Katurba and knocked out of bounds once again. Another throw in coming up for the Fighting Saints. Riker tosses it in into Casey Harris. Harris rolls it back to Papalera, sends it high in the air in front of the net. DeWise gets to it and makes the grab. A little bit of a collision there between Macy DeWise and Kelly Petrowski. Both of them were chasing after that high pop-up. DeWise was the only one who could catch it. Petrowski was trying to make a play with her head, but she didn't come in enough time. So DeWise clears it. We're back into the St. Francis defensive zone. But no attack brewing really for Davenport, at least not at that moment. They'll try to restart it right here. Madeline Rush on the left side. Rush passes it back behind midfield. This is Hilgendorf. Hilgendorf's pass deflected, intercepted by Madison Hanyon. Casey Harris's pass is loose. Alejandra Alonso comes up with it. Nice aggressive play by Alonso. Nobody on the front end, though, to capitalize off that one. That ball rolls back to Macy DeWise. DeWise stops it with her foot and kicks it back ahead. Reversing direction for Davenport. Prout, big kick down the sideline. Headed in the air by Haley Wenberg. Knocked to the middle of the field. Hollander is working on it. She has it taken away, though, by Varney. Now it's Bennett on the far side. Bennett works her way around one defender, looking for the cross. It's deflected away from her on the pass, out of bounds. And we'll have a corner kick here for Davenport. They haven't had quite as many of these as the Saints have. This is their third. St. Francis has had 4 corner kicks. One of the 3, or the 2 prior to now, for Davenport led to a goal scoring, their only goal and the only goal of the game today so far. With just about 14 minutes to play in the second half, Varney gets to take the kick here. Caitlin Varney up into the air and knocked in front of the net, pushed away by Casey Harris out of bounds. Ellie Provo tried to knock that ball away off the initial corner kick, but she missed it. Rohima Bennett was there, but she was at an awkward angle, and she missed it as well. Eventually the ball is knocked in front of the net, and St. Francis may have caught a break there as Davenport was unable to capitalize on the initial miss from Provo. Casey Harris, the last one to touch that ball before going out of bounds. Here's the toss in for the Panthers. Jensink kicks it away. Instead, it's Martina Katurba. Her pass towards Alejandra Alonso is intercepted. Davenport is on the move. Going from right to left, it's Rohima Bennett, poked away. It's Alex Prout. Prout fires it to Madeline Rush on the left side. There's the cross from Rush, headed away and cleared by Camille Papalera. Nice work by Papalera. Davenport, though, still is on the push. Kick back to Amari Richards. Down the field, knocked out of harm's way by Haley Wenberg for the moment. There's a trip up as Alejandra Alonso hit the ground. And we've got a foul call. Foul on Davenport. Sets up a free kick. I don't think we'll see Casey Harris try to put this one on net this time. They're close to 70 yards out, as the kick will not even be taken by Harris. Olivia Hollander gives it a big kick towards the right hash mark, headed away. There's a big ball from Hanyon down the right side and out of bounds. Goal kick for Macy DeWise and for the Panthers of Davenport. Under 12 minutes to go in today's game. Since the 17th minute, it's been 1-0 in favor of the visitors. DeWise passes to her right. St. Francis gets a throw from the far sideline here. Haley Wenberg is the one taking the throw in. She's taking her time with the substitutions coming on here. Kelly Petrowski heads out. Olivia De La Rosa is back in for St. Francis after a long rest. She was on the bench for almost a full half. Ended up missing about 42 minutes of game time, but De La Rosa, some now relatively fresh legs off the bench as the Saints try to make a late run to tie this thing up, send it to overtime, or maybe even win it in regulation. Throw-in coming up for Wenberg here. Haley Wenberg tosses it towards the corner, headed up in the air by Davenport, and out of bounds along the back line. They didn't mean to do that right there. They were trying to clear the ball, but Once she put her head on it, she didn't want it to go straight out of bounds because it does set up another corner kick, the 5th of the game for the Fighting Saints. Let's see what Casey Harris has in mind this time around. Well, first thing that's on her mind is probably setting up the ball in a place that it will stay. It's been difficult on this windy day. Every time they try to put it down cleanly, it blows somewhere, rolls off to the side. There's a ball to the back post. It's loose in front of the net. A big jumble of players, and the ball squirts out of it along the back line and out of bounds for a goal kick. I lost track of what was happening there. There were about 5 or 6 players gathered together in a big muss. And finally I saw the ball squirt out along the back line. Hard to see from here who had touched it last, but the referee, Michael Kennedy, was quick to signal that it was out of bounds on St. Francis. That means Davenport gets a free chance to clear it here, and they do get it out of harm's way towards the midfield. Along the sideline, Dunstan loses it out of bounds. Couldn't quite keep it in. Saints have to play with a little bit more urgency now, as we are under 10 minutes to play in the game. Madison Hanyon tosses it in towards Riker, headed away from Riker. That was Dunstan. Knocked towards the sideline, but kept in bounds. There's Olivia Hollander sending it towards the box. Riker trying to win that ball, but she loses the battle with Cassandra Bosworth. Here's Davenport eating more clock as they try to work their way down the field and put this game on ice with another goal. Knocked down towards the corner, out of bounds along the sideline, 20-some yards out. Throw in here for Davenport. First a substitution for the Panthers. Sydney Van Patten comes in place of Catherine Steiner. This time the Saints get a throw in as Davenport knocks it right back out of bounds. Madison Hanyon tosses it in towards the center of the field. She finds Casey Harris, but that is well defended. Knocked out of bounds by Davenport. Harris not able to stick with it, but she does get to throw it in. Goes behind her to Hanyon. Hanyon turns and makes a quick shot. Comes up well short of the net. Ball back to Alejandra Alonso. To Hanyon. Hanyon takes another one towards the net. This time she had some help from the back end with Olivia De La Rosa streaking in. But it's defended and knocked away by Bosworth. Knocked away by Davenport once again, and Bosworth clears it. Hanyon trying to turn it back St. Francis's way, but it bounces over her head, and here come the Panthers. Varney's kick is knocked away. Camille Papalera gets it back. 7:15 on the clock. 1-0 Davenport leads. They won 2-0 against one of the best teams in Division II last week. Today they're having a little bit more trouble, just 1-0 against the NAIA opponent, St. Francis Fighting Saints, who are still trying to figure out just how good they are this year. They've certainly shown some very positive signs early in the season. Madeline Rush turns and shoots, and it rolls weakly into the hands of the goalkeeper Ellie Provo. Bosworth on the back line. Dribbles to her left, passes to the middle, intercepted by Katurba. Katurba, the sophomore, passes down the right side to Alejandra Alonso, and Alonso can't catch up with it. It's out of bounds for a Davenport throw-in. Tossed in by Dunstan, or not quite. Never actually made it in bounds. That ball hugged the sideline the whole way and landed out. So it's a St. Francis throw-in, and Casey Harris is the one in possession off to Hanyon. Hanyon sends it deep down the left side. Nobody there in goal. Taken away by Amani Richards. Richards pushes it ahead to Rohima Bennett. Prout to her left, and Varney. And now Madeline Rush has some open space. Into the box left side. There's the cross. It's deflected by Prout in front of the net, off the crossbar. Or off the post, I should say, and out of bounds. A goal kick coming up. Saints dodge a bullet. That looked like a good chance for Davenport as that ball went straight through. Prout was there, but unable to put it in. Well, rather than Prout, I believe that was Sidney Van Patten who was in on that ball. Either way, no goal scored. Headed back, Alonso and De La Rosa back on the run. Neither one can get there before Macy DeWise. 5 minutes to play in the game. Saints trail by 1. Their offensive attack has been sharp at many times tonight, but the defensive Davenport's just been a little bit sharper. Here's the defense getting involved right now. Christina Dunstan all the way out from the corner. Dunstan pushes it ahead. Jenzink passes it back to the defense. Rolled to the right side. This is Rahima Bennett. Back to Lertzma. It's been a long time since Lertzma scored that goal that made it 1-0 Davenport. You never know when it happens. What's going to be the biggest moment of the game? How many goals it's going to take to win? Right now, Davenport might be settling for 1. They don't have a lot of time to add to it, but then again, the Saints have that same amount of time to try to get their 1. And if they do, they would still need to get another to get the win. A chance to do that perhaps in overtime. This is Jenzink. Taylor Jenzink has the ball wrestled away from her by Casey Harris, but Harris knocks it out of bounds. Christina Dunstan, the defender, steps up from the back line to throw it in across midfield into Madeline Rush, and Rush has it immediately taken away by Casey Harris. Harris, big ball down the field to Riker. DeWise steps up and kicks it away. Bit of a risky move from DeWise there. If Riker got to that ball first, she would have had a wide open net, as DeWise came well outside of the box, but she did get there first and push it downfield. And that allows the Saints to reclaim possession on the throw. It also allows them to make a substitution. Kelly Petrowski is back in. Anna Riker takes a seat. So Petrowski was not out of the game for too long. John Nixovich just wanted to get her a little bit of a rest, make sure she is fresh for the stretch run, and we are in that stretch run. 2:50 to play. Foul called on St. Francis. Free kick here for Davenport from the far sideline, just shy of midfield. And this is a big free kick here for the Panthers because it allows them to run a little extra time off the clock, and it allows them to get the ball deep into the attacking zone, which would, even if it doesn't lead to a goal, consequently also take some more time off the clock as the Saints try to take the ball away and go a long way to score a goal. Instead, they play defensively here. Macy DeWise, the Davenport goalkeeper, kicks it on one bounce to midfield. Marissa Woods rolled it to the outside. This is Rahima Bennett. Back to Marissa Woods. Woods' attempted through ball is deflected by Haley Wenberg. Stolen back by Davenport down the side of the field and towards the box. Saints let it roll. Brittany Cook allows Ellie Provo to pick that ball up. Now the Saints are in a hurry with under 2 minutes to play. Provo's kick goes along the sideline, knocked out of bounds by Davenport. Madeline Rush, the last one to touch that ball. And now, speaking of Rush, Madison Hanyon works very quickly, getting it in towards Kelly Petrowski. Petrowski working her way onto the ball. Alejandra Alonso wins possession for the Saints. Between the legs of Catlin Varney. The Saints have no forward momentum going so far in this possession. Pushed up into the air, knocked downfield. And on the defensive line, that's pushed ahead by Brittany Cook. Cook finds Casey Harris. Harris tries to poke it past a couple of defenders. She does, but it's headed back by the third one. We're into the final minute of today's game. Saints will have one or two more chances at most to get this final goal. To get this tying goal, I should say. Headed up into the air by Christina Dunstan. Dunstan heads it once again. Casey Harris is there on that free ball. Now loose just in front of the box, knocked away downfield. There's Katurba. Katurba is the last one to touch that ball before going out of bounds. 30 seconds to play. A difference on the throw-ins very evident. Davenport taking their time. The Saints need a quick steal. Hanyon gets her foot on it but knocks it out of bounds, down to 20 seconds. And now they need a really quick steal as Dunstan again offers a throw-in. Dunstan finds Madeline Rush. Rush is able to get by Katurba. Now down to the final 10 seconds. Here's Hanyon with the quick clearance. Saints have 5 seconds to go. Petrowski heads it up once, but no shot for St. Francis. They'll not get one off, and that will put an end to today's game with a final score of 1-0 in favor of the visitors from Davenport, as the Panthers improve their record to 2-1 with their second straight win, their second straight shutout win. This time 1-0 over St. Francis. Davenport has shut the Saints out now in back-to-back meetings over the last 2 seasons, but both of them have been tough, hard-fought games, and this one, despite being a shutout, was not an easy victory for Davenport by any means. The Saints never stopped fighting all the way till that final buzzer. They looked like they had a shot, but their best opportunities came late in the first half, early in the second. Davenport had some chances early in the second half as well, but weren't able to capitalize in extending the lead, which kept the excitement going all the way to the end. But you look at this game statistically, very even all the way throughout. Davenport 12 shots, St. Francis 12 shots. St. Francis had only 2 of their 12 shots on goal. Davenport had 5 shots on goal. 1 of them went in, 4 of them were saved by Ellie Provo, who had another nice game today. Ellie Provo, the sophomore, didn't get a lot of playing time last year, showing herself to be a pretty solid contributor from in net so far this season. The one goal that did get by her, a pop-up, was just over her outstretched arms on a jump, and it landed in the net and bounced into the back of that net. It was scored in the 17th minute by Allison Lertzma. It was the first goal of the year for Lertzma. It's the third goal of the year for Davenport, and it gave them a chance to play a little conservatively going forward. They ended up clutching onto that 1-goal lead all the way throughout the rest of the way. St. Francis' offensive attack was led by Casey Harris. She had more than half of her team's shots, 7 of the 12. And she had a great game today, just couldn't quite put one of them through to the back of the net and give St. Francis that equalizer that they were looking for the majority of the game. A fun one today. Tough loss for St. Francis, but a very competitive game, back and forth, good play on both sides, and unfortunately the Saints come up just a little bit short. Our final score today, 1-0, and that is going to do it for today's broadcast. Saints go on the road after this. Their next couple of games, actually their next 5 games are on the road, because their one scheduled home game during that stretch early in conference play against Calumet St. Joseph ended up having to be canceled. So the next 5 games for the Saints will all be on the road. They won't be back home until October 2nd to be exact. They'll take on Cardinal Stritch. That's a 7 o'clock start time. But keep up to date with St. Francis throughout this long road stretch. GoFightingSaints.com is your home for everything St. Francis athletics. That's going to do it for today's broadcast. Until next time, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.